Imagine two friends who each borrow $50,000 on the same day. The first friend uses the money to buy a brand new luxury SUV. It looks impressive. Friends admire it. Social media loves it. But every month, the loan payment, insurance, fuel, and maintenance drain more of his paycheck. 5 years later, the SUV is worth far less than he paid, yet he spent thousands just to keep it. The second friend also borrows $50,000, but instead of buying something flashy, she starts a small business. The first year is difficult, but she keeps improving. Over time, the business grows, earns profits, hires employees, and eventually generates enough income to repay the loan while continuing to produce wealth. Both people borrowed the same amount. One became poorer, the other became wealthier. The difference wasn't the debt, it was how they used it. Most people are taught that debt is always bad. Others believe borrowing is the secret to becoming rich. Neither idea tells the whole story. Debt is simply a financial tool. Like a hammer, it can build a home or break a window. The result depends on the person using it. By the end of this video, you'll understand why debt exists, how banks profit from it, how wealthy people think about borrowing, and how to avoid the mistakes that trap millions. Once you understand debt, you'll start seeing money in a completely different way. Imagine a world where nobody could borrow money. Families would have to save for decades before buying a home. Many students could never afford college. Entrepreneurs with brilliant ideas might never open their businesses because they couldn't afford equipment, inventory, or office space. Economic growth would slow dramatically. Debt exists because it allows people and businesses to use tomorrow's earning power to solve today's needs or create tomorrow's opportunities. Banks collect money from savers by paying them interest. Then they lend much of that money to borrowers at a higher interest rate. The difference becomes part of the bank's profit while keeping money moving throughout the economy. This system helps businesses expand, create jobs, fund innovation, and allows families to make large purchases they couldn't pay for all at once. But borrowing always comes with a responsibility. Every dollar borrowed today must usually be repaid with interest tomorrow. That means you're promising part of your future income before you've earned it. This is why debt deserves respect. Used wisely, it can help you build a better future sooner. Used carelessly, it can limit your choices for years. Understanding this simple idea is the first step toward making smarter financial decisions. Not all debt is created equal. The smartest financial decision isn't avoiding every loan. It's understanding whether the money you borrow is likely to create value or simply fund consumption. Good debt is used to purchase something that has the potential to increase your income, improve your earning ability, or grow in value over time. Examples include financing education that leads to a higher-paying career, buying equipment that helps a business earn more money, or purchasing a reasonably priced home you can comfortably afford. Bad debt usually pays for things that lose value quickly while continuing to cost money. Luxury vacations, expensive gadgets, designer clothing, or cars purchased mainly to impress others often fall into this category. A simple question can help guide every borrowing decision. Will this debt put more money into my future, or will it take more money out of it? If the answer is that it increases income, builds assets, or creates long-term value, it may be worth considering. If it mainly satisfies a short-term desire while reducing future financial flexibility, think carefully before signing the loan agreement. Successful people don't borrow based on emotion. They borrow based on expected results. Banks are not charities. They are businesses, and their product is money. When you deposit savings into a bank account, the bank doesn't simply lock your money in a vault waiting for you to return. Instead, much of those deposits are used to make loans to individuals and businesses. Suppose the bank pays savers 2% interest each year. Then it lends that same money through mortgages, business loans, or personal loans at 6%, 8%, or even higher. The difference helps cover operating costs, loan defaults, and profit. This is why banks encourage responsible borrowing. The longer money is borrowed, the more interest is generally collected. For borrowers, Understanding interest is critical. A lower interest rate means more of your payment goes toward reducing the loan balance. A higher interest rate means more money is spent on borrowing instead of building wealth. Before accepting any loan, compare interest rates, repayment periods, fees, and your ability to comfortably make payments. The best borrowers don't just ask, "Can I get approved?" They ask, "Is this loan helping my financial future? And what will it truly cost over time?" Debt doesn't usually become dangerous overnight. It often grows quietly through small decisions repeated over time. A new phone financed over several years, a credit card balance carried from month to month, furniture bought with monthly payments, subscriptions that continue long after they're useful. Each payment may seem manageable on its own, but together they reduce your ability to save, invest, or handle unexpected expenses. This is known as lifestyle inflation. As income increases, spending often increases just as quickly. Instead of building wealth, many people simply upgrade their lifestyle while remaining financially stressed. One of the biggest traps is making only the minimum payment on high-interest debt. While it keeps the account current, it often means interest continues accumulating, making the debt more expensive and taking much longer to repay. A better habit is to prioritize paying off high-interest debt as quickly as possible, while avoiding unnecessary borrowing for purchases that won't improve your financial future. Every dollar you don't spend on unnecessary interest is a dollar that can be invested, saved for emergencies, or used to create new opportunities. The goal isn't to fear debt. The goal is to make sure your money works for you instead of always working for your lenders. Many people hear that inflation makes everything more expensive, but few realize how it affects debt. Imagine you borrow $200,000 to buy a modest home with a fixed interest rate. Your monthly payment stays about the same for years. But if your salary increases over time because of inflation and career growth, that payment gradually takes up a smaller percentage of your income. This is one reason why some long-term borrowers benefit from fixed-rate loans. They repay the debt with future dollars that may have less purchasing power than the dollars they originally borrowed. However, this only works if you borrowed responsibly. If you take on a loan with high interest, a variable rate that keeps increasing, or payments that stretch your budget, inflation won't save you. Instead, rising living costs can make repayment even harder. The key lesson is simple. Inflation can work for you or against you depending on the type of debt you carry. Responsible borrowers don't assume inflation will solve their problems. They borrow within their means, choose affordable payments, and focus on assets that have the potential to grow in value or generate income. Debt alone doesn't create wealth. Owning productive assets while managing debt wisely is what builds long-term financial success. Many people believe wealthy individuals never borrow money. In reality, many successful business owners and investors use debt, but they use it very differently from the average consumer. Before borrowing, they ask one important question: will this loan produce more money than it costs? If the answer is yes, they may consider borrowing. If the answer is no, they usually walk away. For example, an entrepreneur might borrow money to expand a profitable business, buy equipment that increases production, or purchase a rental property that generates consistent cash flow. The goal isn't simply to own more things. The goal is to own assets that produce income. Wealthy people also protect themselves by keeping emergency savings, maintaining good credit, and avoiding loans they cannot comfortably repay if the economy slows down. They understand that leverage increases both opportunity and risk. Debt is never treated as free money. It's treated as a responsibility that must produce measurable results. This mindset is what separates borrowing to impress others from borrowing to create lasting financial freedom. Most financial problems don't begin with one huge mistake. They begin with many small ones. Using a credit card for purchases you can't afford. Financing luxury items because the monthly payment seems low. Taking out a personal loan to pay off another loan without changing spending habits. ignoring an emergency fund, borrowing simply because everyone else appears to be doing it. These decisions slowly reduce your financial flexibility. When an unexpected expense arrives, a medical bill, job loss, or major car repair, many people have no savings. Their only option is to borrow even more, creating a cycle that's difficult to escape. Breaking this cycle starts with honest financial habits. Know exactly how much you owe. Pay more than the minimum whenever possible. Avoid buying things just because they're available on monthly payments. Build an emergency fund before taking on unnecessary debt. Most importantly, remember that every purchase has two prices: the price on the tag and the interest you may pay if you borrow. Understanding that difference can save you thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Knowing the difference between good and bad debt is valuable. Taking action is what changes your future. Start by writing down every debt you have. Include the balance, interest rate, minimum payment, and due date. Seeing everything in one place gives you a clear picture of where you stand. Next, stop adding new unnecessary debt. Focus on paying every bill on time to protect your credit history. Then, choose a repayment strategy. Some people prefer paying off the highest interest debt first because it reduces total interest costs. Others prefer paying off the smallest balances first because each success builds confidence and motivation. Whichever method you choose, consistency matters more than perfection. At the same time, build a small emergency fund so unexpected expenses don't force you to borrow again. As debt decreases, redirect the money you use for monthly payments into investments, retirement accounts, or savings. This creates a powerful cycle. Instead of paying interest to others, your money begins earning returns for you. Financial freedom doesn't happen overnight. It happens through hundreds of smart decisions repeated month after month. Debt isn't the enemy. Ignorance is. The same financial tool can either build a successful business or trap someone in years of financial stress. The difference isn't the loan. The difference is knowledge, discipline, and purpose. Before borrowing, always ask yourself 3 questions. Do I truly need this? Will it increase my future income or improve my financial position? Can I comfortably repay it even if life doesn't go as planned? If the answer to any of these questions is no, think carefully before signing any agreement. Remember, every dollar you borrow represents future work you'll have to do. Make sure that future effort is buying something meaningful, not just satisfying a temporary desire. People who master money don't chase a wealthy appearance. They build strong financial habits, invest patiently, avoid unnecessary debt, and allow time to work in their favor. Debt isn't neither good nor bad on its own. It's simply a tool. When you understand how to use that tool wisely, you stop working only for money and begin making money work for you. If this video helped you see debt in a new way, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who wants to build a stronger financial future, because once you truly understand debt, you'll never look at money the same way again.